Welcome to my study. If you remember correctly, I have started cataloguing dragons of legend, the ones that stand out and break all the rules of their kind. Since my starter tome did so well, I've decided to make another one. This will be a Volume 1, and since I neglected to mention stone snouts, they are going to be a bit of a focus for this volume. Well, that, and see, due to the events of the past few years, where we've had a lot more contact with the sages and scholars of the Valkyrian people. And with that knowledge, I have been able to learn a lot about the stone snouts, since they are both native to those lands, and so I shall start this volume with a tale of the fallen king of the Valkyrian range. In the twilight years of the Age of Madness, Malachi was the largest clade king of all stone snouts. He was mighty and unstoppable. Even the mightiest storm raisers knew to leave him alone and marked his lands on their maps. It was said he was instrumental in defending the land from the Mad Queen's invasion. However, his rule did not last, and just before the dawn of the Age of Ashes, he was dethroned by another and forced to flee. Now, him surviving alone is a testament to his power, for most die after such a challenge. But he has grown bitter through time and seeks to reclaim his throne of the whole range. He now lives in exile, but has formed a new clade from his young, for even after losing his perch, he is still a king. But who dethroned such a titan and became the new king of kings? Well, Draconomicon is your answer. One who takes what he wants and defends his rightfully conquered lands from invaders. In fact, it is said he even knows how to tell people apart. While he tolerates Valkyrians, provided they kneel before him, he will allow no Skeldian trespass. Some have even said that this dragon is a legion in one form, able to wipe out another. An exaggerated claim, but I can confirm he has wiped out entire platoons alone. Even the Conqueror Jorlane knew to avoid this creature, who is now known only as the Scourge to the Skeldian army. But perhaps you wish to hear of a different type of dragon, a blood chaser that is fed up with war and hunting and has taken a more peaceful life. While Akatia is one you may wish to know of. He was once the mount of a prestigious marauder mercenary, and the dragon is credited as changing the outcome of some battles during the War of the Meadows. However, after the death of their master, they had had enough bloodshed, and fled to the countryside, to the northernmost corner of the Eastern Vard, where they rest to this day, a slumbering veteran who has developed the calmest demeanor. In fact, some of the locals claim he overlooks herds of sheep commonly, not as a hunter, but akin to a shepherd. The locals even love him for it, for he keeps away wild blood chasers, who are aware of his reputation. But next, how about I discuss another member of the divine family of Harvin, his grandson, Valmir, firstborn of Hjalgund, but he took much more after his uncle, for the first act he is ever credited with doing is trying to overthrow his father and take his titles. He of course failed and was banished to the Neador range, and to make things even worse for him, one of the old four, the trickster Falder, wished to battle him and won, plunging his blade into Valmir's heart and casting him into darkness. But, though he was defeated and humiliated, he did not die, but slumbered, regaining his power and seeking revenge on the world, to cast it into an infinite winter, to freeze all who scorned him. But he cannot do so alone, and as legends say, he seeks a champion, one worthy of his power, one also scorned by the world, so that he may bestow his divine attributes, may bond with this new rider, and bring in the endless cold. But back to the stone snouts for now. Do you wish to know of the oldest living member of their kind? In fact, he might be the first stone snout ever. Stoganda is the eldest of their kind. Unlike most stone snouts of myth, he has no interest in claiming a clade for his own. But this might be because all clades descend from him, if you believe the legends, of course. What makes this more interesting is that he is said to be one of the most powerful of their kind. He could dethrone Radcorn should he wishes, but has no desire to. Perhaps with his age, he's grown lazy, or maybe like other ancient dragons, he has grown hyper-intelligent and views it as beneath him. But I like to think he's prideful of his young, and does not wish to take away from their accomplishments, and that means another he must therefore be proud of is a clade king that stands out. Unlike most of these kings who dwell within the Valkyrian range, Dahir is the only one that lives in the sea, and the clade he commands were in fact spawned by him. His mastery over the waves is known to all. He has even started several legends among sailors. In fact, many ban fighting on board because of him, for it is said he can smell a single drop of blood that hits the ocean, and comes rushing for the blood of Skeldians, for it is said they are his favourite snack. Sailors are of course very superstitious sorts, so perhaps the myths should be taken with a grain of salt. But one that does have truth in its myths is the only night snagger of this volume, Dahir. He is a bit of a boogie dragon to many children of the land, for unlike most of his kind that hide in the shadows and nest within the dark, he is an open, nomadic traveller that is also an apt fighter, but just as ruthless as the rest of his kind. He started living like this after the death of his clade that happened long ago. It is said he is searching for the others of his clade and has yet to find them. But what makes this tale all the more tragic is that he is the reason they are gone. See, the parents of his flock were killed shortly before they hatched, and upon his hatching, he feasted upon his own siblings. But he no longer remembers these events, and due to trauma, he will not allow himself to remember. And so, he is alone, forever hoping to find the kin he has slew. Valkyrians are very superstitious people. Some tell tales of how the harsh winters start, with the roar of a wild stone snout. Paru-Al is said to be the one that cult itself follows. It is even unknown if he or Valmir have more control over it. Perhaps they would be bitter rivals, but one might think that they would be unmatched, for Valmir has divine blood. Well, many claim Baru-Al's icy powers do not come from his raw strength, but his blood, for some think he is in fact related to their god of cold and ice, Winter. And I can see why they believe this, for his mastery of ice is total, and this would also explain why he has no desire to claim a clade of his own. Again, unlike most stone snouts. Another stone snout who also breaks this mold is our Haldoon, for he is content with resting and being left alone peacefully, akin to Akatir. But unlike the Blood Chaser, that's not really possible for him anymore, for the valley he claimed to be left alone in solitude is now known as Hell's Breach, the very place that is being invaded by dwellers. He hates the dwellers so much that he often aids defenders in stopping the horde whenever he sees them, and in many ways this has made him more peaceful towards Dragoneers. In the past, he would attack them on sight for disturbing his valley, but now that he's only left with the option of humans or dwellers, he would much rather have humans. And lastly, I wish to speak of two I have mentioned before, the dragons that, despite being of a different genus, have formed a loving bond. The Blood Chaser Hjartenbald, and the Ironwing Yornabald. Both of them were outcasted from their clades and left to die, but they found each other. Naturally, they fought at first, but for one reason or another, they instead bonded and lived together. Unfortunately, many dragons thought this was disgusting and unnatural, and sought to slay them. They defended themselves as best they could, but in the end, Yornabald died protecting Hjartenbald, who flew into a rage to defend them, only to then weep, fearing that they would never meet them again, not even in the afterlife. Until, of course, divine intervention from Halvind himself, allowing the two of them to be together forever. I think that is enough tales of dragons for now, and the end of this volume. They are truly fascinating creatures, some elegant and divine, wanting little more than peace, and some bestial and tyrannical, wanting power and control, and a few of them fall somewhere in between. Thank you for listening to my tales. I am the Ashspawn. Feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe, it really does mean a lot to me. But, till next we meet, fellow traveller, have a good day.